Hi, it's John and welcome to the channel. It is 4:43 a.m. Thursday, June the 26th. I've got my big blue mug of coffee. Hope you're having a great start to your day. I certainly am. You know what? I want to do, this is kind of a this and that video. A little bit of stuff that's going on right now in the country. I've got something good coming up in just a moment, by the way. It's not all bad, okay? But this is actually a bad thing. I want to do some social commentary on the big blue mug of coffee this morning. Not the mug itself, but what's in the mug. Coffee. I like coffee. Started drinking coffee years ago when I was a morning broadcaster. Kind of wakes you up a little bit, perks you up a little bit. Coffee's getting more expensive, as everything is. But I want to talk to you about the cream. I'm seriously considering quitting drinking coffee because of coffee cream. And I've brought it up here on the channel on a number of occasions. Only a couple of weeks ago, I had a liter of coffee. It cost me $4.13 for 1 liter of coffee. How do you like that dairy cartel in Quebec? But anyhow, $4.13 for 1 liter of coffee. And I started doing the math in my head. I figure we probably drink 4 liters a week. When you drink coffee every morning, at probably 4, maybe 5, but probably 4. So let's say it's 4 at $4 a liter. That's $16 a week. I'm going to do some math here. I've always said don't do math on the air. I was a radio broadcaster. You end up looking stupid. But for $16 a week by 52 weeks, that's over $800 a year in cream. That's how much we could save if we quit drinking coffee in my family. It's getting unaffordable to drink the damn stuff because, well, you know why. And Carney says he's going to give you a tax break by July 1st, which won't cover the cost of the cream for my freaking coffee. So anyway, moving on from there, there's some good news today. First off, I want to thank you for your kind comments about yesterday's video. I felt bad because I missed the rally for independence here in Calgary. Brain freeze, but all of you were very nice about that. And if you look on the comments at the top, I pinned something saying thank you so much for your kind comments. By the way, some of you sent out some super thanks yesterday, a few bucks my way. I appreciate that. It's not necessary, but thank you so much for doing that. But I wanted to tell you, I will be going to an Alberta Prosperity Project rally next week because I went to their website. Let me go over here. I'm trying something out new here today, folks. I went over to their website. See, this is new technology. I'm getting in line with the kids. Here's the Alberta Prosperity Project website. If you haven't been there, albertaprosperityproject.com. And if we go up to the top here and we click on events, which I did yesterday, we come up with the upcoming dates. Lots of dates coming up. If you're in Alberta, check out this page and you can attend one of their rallies as well. But there's one coming up here in Airdrie. And for those of you who don't know Alberta very well, Airdrie's just north of Calgary. I'm going to that one. I RSVP'd. I've already put it on my calendar. And if we click on this one, you'll see that Mitch Sylvester will be there next week. And I spoke to Mitch. Watch the video I did with Mitch about a week or so ago. And Jeffrey Rath is going to be there. I'm going to try to get Jeffrey on with me on the channel, hopefully early next week. I'm going to try to arrange something with Jeffrey today prior to this get-together in Airdrie on Thursday night next week. So I'll be there. So look for a video, hopefully on Friday morning, if not Saturday morning of the next week, about the Independence Rally here in Airdrie. And I plan on being there for sure. I'm going to take my wife along as well. So that's to start. Now, there's some good news. Right off the top, I've got some good news for you because it's been a good month. Now, I know it's been a bad month from a standpoint of Canadian politics. I mean, all of the liberal stuff that's been going on and Mark Carney and whatnot. But it's been, let's get some good news out of this, folks. The good news is it's been a good month. And you know what June is to leftists? It's Pride Month. And you get inundated with pride stuff all the time. And it drives you crazy because most conservatives really don't give a damn what you do when you go to your bedroom. A little foreshadowing there. But it hasn't been as prevalent this year. Have you noticed? And it's been good. We haven't seen constant stories about them painting stuff on roads and pride stuff. Maybe it's because Trudeau loved to be at pride parades. I've always wondered why. Have you? But anyway, he always wanted to be in pride parades. We haven't seen Mark Carney sitting in any cars in pride parades this year. We still have a few days left this month. That's possible. I don't know where the pride parades are happening this weekend, but that is still possible. But we just haven't had it in our face constantly, and I think that's a good thing. And you know what's the reason I'm bringing this up is because of this article right here. Warmington, only in Canada would government alter its national flag to promote wokeness. At a time when Prime Minister Carney is promoting Canada again, the federal government changed the flag, while in Ontario, Premier Doug Ford sent his own message by putting a giant proper maple leaf standard on the front of Queen's Park. And I saw this morning. This was an article from yesterday, but this is what they set out. You don't alter your logo. And this is something you learn if you've ever sat in on meetings and you've had to prepare any documents. You never alter a company's logo. You never change the brand of a company. And lots of companies did that in June. And I've seen other people talking about this, but companies haven't done that quite that much this year. But Canada is the gayest country in the world. We have to send out stuff like this. You don't mess with the Canadian flag. I've seen it with marijuana leaves on there. The natives use it. They put symbols on it. You're not supposed to do that. Warmington said, somebody should tell the government of Canada there's only one Canadian flag. And then Doug Ford, he put this one up. This is Queen's Park in Toronto. So good for Doug Ford. I'm not pissing on Canada. I don't dislike Canada. I'm just an Albertan. That's what I consider myself. And if you like Canada, good for you, but good for Doug Ford for doing this. Maybe some inside the federal government need a lesson on what is a legal Canadian flag and what isn't. Regulations say it should be red on each end, white in the middle with a red maple leaf. You don't change the logo. Yet for some reason on the Canada X account with 1.1 million followers, a flag was posted with the red ends in rainbow colors, which are synonymous with Pride Month of June. And here, I'll show you the tweet that they sent out. Here it is. In Canada, we know that diversity is our strength and we love to celebrate it. This being You Day. Let it be a reminder to be authentically yourself and celebrate all the things that make you, you. What the hell does that mean? That's the first time I've actually read this whole tweet. Now, I want to ask you, can you be anybody else but you? This is absurd, but you don't change the logo. But it's been a good month from that standpoint. But you may remember going back here, Carney did kind of kick off the month. This is going back to June 10th, giving more money to make parades safer for the alphabet people. I don't know where we've ever had an issue with it being unsafe. And then, of course, this is him raising the flag right here. On Parliament Hill. But, it's just one of those things. As a conservative, I really don't care what you do. Liberals are obsessed with this stuff. And they try to slam people like myself as somebody who's a homophobe. And I'm not a homophobe. I have friends who are gay. I don't care. It's the liberals who always make this an issue. And there was another liberal a long time ago who said something. The only thing I think he ever said that I agreed with. And the liberals today have to embrace this man's message.
On homosexuality, I think the view we take here is that there's no place for the state in the bedrooms of the nation.
For those of you who don't know, that was Pierre Trudeau, former Prime Minister of Canada. That would have been probably early 70s. It's in black and white. That is Justin's dad, apparently. But I think liberals should take his comments to heart. So let's move on to today. And I want you to think about two words, and I don't know whether anybody else is ever going to say this. I'm just a guy in his basement, but climate economy. Climate economy. I think that's where we're going. I did a video the other day saying all the chess pieces are falling into place. Carney over at the EU, over in Europe, because Canada is the most European of the non-European countries, says the Prime Minister of Canada. He's over there with his friends who he can relate to, because he doesn't relate with North Americans as much as he relates to those people. But the EU, they're all about climate. Climate, the carbon border adjustment, taxing our oil and gas industry, keeping oil and gas in the ground, no pipelines for Canada, right? Climate economy. Another piece is falling into place. I don't know whether it's the king. I don't know whether they're into checkmate position yet, but possibly. Here's an article right here that I noticed. This is from mining.com. Prime Minister says Canada's mines to help pay $110 billion NATO bill. Now, you know about this. Prime Minister Mark Carney said Canada can meet a steep expected increase in its North Atlantic Treaty Organization obligation spending, partly by leaning on the country's bounty of critical minerals. Well, good. I'm wondering who's going to get in the way of doing these things. Provinces and Aboriginals and whatnot. But the 32-member military alliance is meeting in The Hague and discussing a new total spending target of 5% of gross domestic product, 3.5% in core defense funding, and 1.5% in related investments, including infrastructure. That's a lot of money. If we go down here for Canada, that 5% comes out to about $150 billion, he said, before clarifying a little less than a third of that overall number is spending on things that, quite frankly, we're already doing to build the resilience of our economy. So let's just take him at his word that we can easily spend $50 billion in this country. And you know how much I trust this guy. That leaves $100 billion, and he says we can get that from mining. Remember, climate economy. Let's go over to this article in the Financial Post. This is an opportunity. Federal Energy Minister says world is eyeing Canada's critical minerals. Oh, really? Tim Hodgson, who is the Energy and Natural Resources Minister, says he constantly hears from other countries that want to buy critical minerals from Canada, and that is presenting the country with an opportunity for economic growth. Well, that's good news. My wife happens to be in the mining industry. I think this is great news. But why are they doing this? Why are they so eager to start mining in our country? There's a kicker to this. It's coming up. Let's go down here. Put a little highlight here. Hodgson said Canada is standing at a unique moment in its history that is defined by instability. Supply chains are being ripped apart. Climate change is advancing, and Canada is in the midst of a devastating trade war with the United States, its closest trading partner. Tim Hodgson brings up climate change. We're talking about mining. We're talking about critical minerals. Mark Carney is all about net zero, about climate change. He's going to try to advance Canada's climate economy, saying we have to build mines so that we can get things out of the ground to build windmills and solar panels. Now, that's just fine. I'm an all-in kind of guy, but I'm an oil and gas guy. I live in Alberta, for Christ's sakes. But Carney is committing to building mines in this country. He will not commit to building a pipeline in this country, and we've been asking for years here in Alberta. Danielle Smith is on the warpath for a pipeline in this country, and we have no commitment. But Carney goes to the EU, sits down, and now he's committing to mines, but he won't commit to pipelines because he will not get rid of C-69. He won't get rid of the tanker ban. He doesn't like oil and gas, which just leads me to this point right here. And this is going to end this video. A classic war is shaping up in this country between Alberta, Danielle Smith, and Mark Carney. Classic. It's going to be huge. We have got, let me go over here. The next election, I'm just going to get rid of let's go over to the screen here. Alberta's next election is coming up on October 18th, 2027. Time's a-wasting, folks, for Danielle Smith. She needs a win. She's been screaming about getting Ottawa off our back for months. She's got demands of Ottawa and she gets nothing, while Carney's talking about doing mining to get critical minerals, no doubt, because of his climate economy. So Danielle Smith needs a win. Naheed Nenshi just got elected in a by-election. If you're not from Alberta, he's the head of the NDP here. Former mayor of Calgary, a nightmare. If she doesn't get a win real soon, it's over. And she's got to get a win from the federal government. A classic war is heating up. We've got an indication of that over the last 24 to 48 hours.
Our potential is as limitless as our skies. But let's face it, Alberta's being held back. Our economy has been under attack for most of the last 10 years. Frankly, off and on for decades long before then. Not by a foreign country or by world economic forces. No, Alberta's biggest threat to our prosperity and growth has come from our own nation's capital. Alberta has an Ottawa problem.
So this goes on and on. She just absolutely hammers the Liberal government It's been the Liberals for the last 10 years, firing a shot across the bow of Mark Carney and the Liberal Party of Canada. While Carney is committing to mines, he won't commit to our oil and gas industry. Very effective video, part of the Alberta Next panel she's putting together. They're going to go around the province and ask Albertans what they want. We'll have a referendum next year with a number of questions, including an independence vote. I think it should be a separate thing. Pun intended there. The independence vote should be separate from these other referenda that she's talking about. But folks, an epic battle is coming, and I'm not sure how it's going to end between Alberta and the federal government. I'd like to see it end in independence for Alberta, but it's going to be head-to-head between Carney and Danielle Smith until he commits to building not just a pipeline, but pipelines, and letting Alberta become the economic powerhouse it truly can be. But remember, climate, economy, that's all Carney cares about. Everything will be based on climate. By the way, ignore the Wikipedia posting below this video. Ignore it. YouTube and Google always put that down there. Ignore it. Thanks very much for watching. I do appreciate it. Kind of a this and that video today. Thanks for all your kind words. I appreciate those as well. If you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Ring the bell for notifications. I'll be back with my big blue mug of coffee, perhaps, if I don't quit drinking it. And I'll see you in the next one.